If you watch part one, we talked about how God will never use manipulation and deception to draw us near to Him. However, He does use truth, peace, and clarity to draw us near to Him, not control. And so this is part two, and I really wanted to talk about how this shows up through Scripture for those that were curious. So these stories are not just examples, but they're living proof of what it looks like when leadership is misaligned with God's character and what discernment looks like in those moments. So if you're familiar with King Saul in 1 Samuel chapter 13 to 15, you'll know that Saul was God's chosen king over Israel. But he started making decisions that were not aligned with God's instructions, like offering sacrifices that he was not supposed to, sparing the Amalekite king and livestock when God commanded that they be destroyed. So even though Saul claimed loyalty to God, his leadership became compromised. And because of this, the people under his leadership suffered and his kingdom became unraveled. So the lesson in this story is that when leadership is misaligned with God, the people under that leadership can be exposed to those consequences, which is why discernment is so key. Next, in 1 Samuel chapter 2 and 3, we see the story about Eli's sons. Eli's sons were priests, but they were extremely corrupt. They were taking advantage of people and misrepresenting God. And even though Eli tried to correct his sons, he didn't remove them from their position, so people suffered under their leadership. And because of this, God warned Eli. So because Eli didn't listen, eventually judgment came. This is an example of how failing to address spiritual misalignment and staying up under it can have severe consequences for the community. And I don't really look at these stories as just history. I look at these stories as wisdom for today. It's so important that we discern leadership, influence, and our environments, that we pay attention to what God is showing us, and to trust the guidance that He gives us, to step away when the fruit does not match His character. Because staying where God is not present has consequences, whether it's a church, a relationship, or a community.